Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you could join me today. I'm excited because I get to play with some products from Grafix that they sent me. All the products will be linked in the description box below, so if you're interested in anything I used here, go ahead and just click the links below and it'll take you right to the Grafix site. First thing we're going to use is the chipboard. And let me tell you, this chipboard is some sturdy, thick chipboard. It's 8.5 by 11. It comes in black, white, and craft. This stuff is so sturdy. I'm super excited to use it for a journal cover in the near future. You'll see me using a craft blade to cut this. Can you use a paper cutter? Yes. Would I recommend it? Probably not. I used my Spellbinders paper cutter to cut a piece last night for something I was doing, and it did cut, not all the way through because the blade's not deep enough. So I had to flip it over and then cut on the other side. It was easier, but it is definitely going to dull your blade quickly. So as you can see here, measurements are on the screen. I'm using a blade and going over it several times with even pressure. You don't want to go too hard because you can get hurt and your blade tends to go rogue when you do that. A T-ruler comes in handy when you're doing this part just to make sure it's nice and square. And I did have to do this twice because the first time I didn't get it square. So again, I don't like to measure. So I'm going to put my frame on the outside and I'm going to trace around it to get the shape that I need, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Again, I had to do it twice. Sorry for my head being in the way because you can see right there where it's very crooked. And I noticed that my blade was getting dull, so I broke off the tip to get to a new one. Again, light pressure, several passes to make that cut. Once I had that base cut, I'm going to go ahead and print off my image for the background, and I like to do this before I assemble the box so that it gives me nice clean edges. We're using the computer graphics with the adhesive back. It's the matte film, and this stuff prints so crisp and clean and vibrant. Once that is done, I cut it a little bit bigger than my base just so I know it's going to go edge to edge. And then I'm going to put the film down adhesive side up so that I can make sure that I put my base on there as straight as possible. You're going to notice here in a couple seconds that my base is a little bit bigger than my frame, and that's okay. I actually did that on purpose because it's always easier to trim off excess than it is to add more, and I don't want to start over. So there's about 1/4 of an inch hanging over the edge of the frame once I glue the frame to the base, and I just cut that off once the glue was dry. So now this is where it all starts to come together with the craft plastic. This stuff is a little tricky to cut. So I did use a paper cutter, but it will dull your blade faster than you can even imagine. So I would suggest using a sharp craft knife or X-Acto blade and a ruler. Again, cut slowly, even pressure. It has a protective film on it. So you want to make sure if you're going to paint on it, stamp on it, or anything like that, you want to remove the protective film before you do that. So again, lost footage. You didn't see me stamping those corners, so we're going to do that again just so you can see. I would suggest using Stays-On ink, but I don't have any, so I just use my archival ink. I peeled off the protective layer, and then I just stamped in the corners of the plastic that's going to go as kind of like the cover of this box. And light pressure, if you press too hard, it will slip and slide all over the place. stamp it, and then set it aside to let it dry. Quick tip, if you get any ink where you don't want it, just take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and it'll come right off. This plastic glues great with just your art glitter glue or whatever craft glue you use. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point because we are going to cover it with decorative pom-poms. But just make sure that you get enough glue on the edge to seal it all closed and let it dry. And then you can add your decorative pieces around it if you'd like, which is what I did. And I didn't paint the outside because we're going to add some decorative trim around that too to give it some color. And that's a wrap, my friends. A big thank you to Grafix Plastics for sending me the supplies to make this. All of their information will be linked below along with the products that I used. We'll see you in the next one.